Don't forget to carry the 9.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's time for Bollox Talks and Tangents, and we're talking golf. We're talking all types of golf. We're talking history, origins of golf. We're talking wins and losses, good wins, bad losses, all those things. I got Lenny here with me, and we got some fun stuff. We got some good word origins. We're doing a Mount Rushmore.
Always. I'm liking this. I'm liking this theme.
Were you ever a golfer?
Absolutely.
Do you still play every once in a while?
You know what? I have 3. Well, I gave one away. I've got 2 sets of clubs in my garage. I've got a 5-gallon pail of balls. And since I've been to Florida, I haven't played once.
Really?
Can you imagine that?
When did you get to Florida? You've been to Florida a long time.
8 years, 9 years.
Yeah,
I know. I'll get back into it eventually. Yeah, you know, I used to play a lot of golf, and I'm very consistent.
Well, you're
100.
consistently bad. Yeah.
100.
100 on.
98.
Yeah.
102.
Yeah.
But I figure that, you know what, on any given hole, I can either play as well or as bad as a professional.
See, I play in the 80s.
Ooh, show off.
Well, no. If it's any hotter, I can't go out there. So, I don't know if you know this, but I guess you have a little tribute because today is Albert Einstein's birthday.
It's true.
And the left side of your head's gotten very Einstein-ish. Did you see that, Blake?
See what happens when I leave a window open on such a beautiful day?
Julie's not here to protect you.
No.
So, cheers, sir.
Chindan.
Cheers. And we're drinking Tennessee Crown. It's aged 8 years. It's a Tennessee bourbon whiskey. I'm not sure if we've had this one on the show or not, but we're gonna sip it down and see what we got.
And our viewers in Kentucky just went, that doesn't count. Little sweet, little heathery.
It's all right.
Yeah,
It's all right. I can.
it'll work.
I can handle it.
It'll work.
And I'm drinking it Lenny style with no ice.
Put some hair on your chest.
Whew. Yeah, it's all gray now.
Yeah, believe me, I know.
So we got a fun show up ahead. But first thing we got to do, we got to talk about our amazing sponsors, St. Augustine Distillery and Citygate Spirits. These guys have done an amazing job. So happy they're in town. They're manufacturing here inside the city limits.
Right.
Just wonderful, great flavors coming out of Citygate Spirits. Wonderful bourbons and spirits coming out of St. Augustine Distillery. I mean, just a great job. Great ownership. They give back to the community. Really appreciate them being a partner with us. All right, big week for Meehans.
Oh, baby.
Woo!
As I said, they don't need to see my handsome face there this week because I won't be able to squeeze into the bar. But
Sunday.
Raceway Park, Englishtown, New Jersey.
Last year I was there with Derek and like 6 other Irishmen.
So he brought his dominoes.
Yes. So they were there, and they say they were speaking English.
And I don't think they said they were speaking the Queen's English.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I can tell you right now, if the spouses weren't there to interpret for me sometimes,
translate,
yeah, it was an interesting time.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great time. They're a wonderful group, and I might swing in and see them again because I know they're going to have a reserved table.
Okay, good for them. Yeah, you know, if you are looking to go out and celebrate St. Patrick's Day, there isn't a better place in town to do it where you're not going to get a better meal because the food is fabulous, the atmosphere is, and they take St. Patrick's Day seriously. Take my word for it.
I tell you what, I had the chicken curry the other day, and it's so much I took it home and then had it for lunch the next day. So good, so good. Have you had the curry there?
I haven't. You keep telling me about that, and I keep forgetting to have that there.
Yeah, the pie
could be my next one.
The shepherd's pie is my favorite, and then the chicken curry is my next go-to.
I might have to.
And
go for that.
The wings are great.
Wings are great. I found out it takes them 2.5, 3 days to make those wings.
And I got the go around on the tenders. It's still on the kids menu.
Not
the little ones, but the tenders,
like real life chicken tenders.
Chicken finger tenders. They still exist, and they're battered the way they do the other ones. So
okay, well that's good because I keep forgetting. I mean, it's some place in Ireland. Oh, Tipperary, man! I know it's a T, and it takes me a long time to remember Tipperary for the chicken bites.
Yep.
Oh, those are some of the best things I've ever had.
Oh yeah, no, they're so good. They're so good. All right. Also on our list, Abare, Kresge and Associates. It is golf. It is golf season. It is tax season. Right. These guys know what they're doing. Got to get it done this week, right?
No, April 15th.
Oh, it's April 15th.
Yeah, April 15th.
All right, I find my extension.
It actually might be the 18th.
Mine's not until the fall. So.
Yeah, well, right, you find your extension already. Yeah. Okay, good.
With the businesses that I got going, and it just seems to be growing here. But But these guys take care of me. They keep me out of trouble. They do an amazing job. All right. St. Augustine Pirate Museum, over 800 original artifacts. Just a very entertaining place. So happy they're here in town. They moved up from Key West. The Croce family brought us this amazing museum. They still do great stuff in the community. They run the Oak. They run Bull and Crown. They have the Taberna Bar and restaurant. These guys just are phenomenal, and I don't know what we would do without them on St. George Street. All right, we ate there today for lunch. Kaiser's Deli and Market.
Big group, yes,
I recruited some people.
There you go, good. So turn them on to it, man.
We recruited some people, so we had a total of 6 of us there today.
It's a busy lunch for them. It was good.
And I did the Daddle Reuben today. Stepped outside. I didn't do the Bollox this time. Mike Davis did the Bollox and actually said he enjoyed that.
Happy to hear that. That makes Blake happy. Oh, no, the Bollox.
The Bollox, not the White Street.
White Street.
Not White Street, but he had the White Street.
There's a fine line.
Yeah, so, but just wonderful food. You know, Kaiser, appreciate you so much. And we have new sponsors coming in April.
Excellent. And, you know, if you're up early, try Kaiser's for 2 egg, cheese, and your choice of meats on a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's a good breakfast way to start the day.
All right.
Yeah. Wait, hold on, Dad.
I usually go with word origins.
Dad, wait, hold on. You're missing the most important sponsor.
Oh, Coquina. I miss my own sponsorship every time. Coquina Coast Realty. In case you're looking, I have apartments that are for rent. I have some open spaces on the office side. And if you're looking to buy or sell, give me a call. I do commercial and residential. And if I'm not the guy to help you, I'm going to tell you I'm not the guy to help you. So no, I don't think you're going to get that every place else.
You're an honest man, Troy Blevins. Yeah. You're an honest man.
So I will let you know I'm not your guy. But if I can help you, I'll help you to the fullest. So give me a call, 904-669-7901. Little stutter there.
Joe Biden.
904-6. You don't call yourself.
Thank you, Mr. President. Exactly.
You don't call yourself.
Trust me. Nowadays, you want to scare somebody, ask them to give you a phone number because they know how to turn on their phone and push the name.
Yeah.
Nobody knows phone numbers anymore.
No.
People will remember their childhood phone numbers or their home phone numbers from 100 years ago.
I remember my home phone number in the land. 0530.
Yeah, 431-3096.
And then it went to 60530. Then it went to 736-0530. Then it went to 904-736-0530.
You mean,
and then it went to 407. So, and then it went to 386, which was what it ended up with for my parents.
But didn't you start with going, Martha? Can you connect me? Can you connect me with my neighbor?
I always had to put in the 60530. So it was 5 numbers when I first started.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
And then it was 73, and then 73 came in later on.
See, I always had an exchange, but that was back in the days when there were words involved in it. So it was GE1, GE2, and that was for General 1 and General 2.
Did you have a party line?
We didn't know.
Yeah, we had a party line around our neighborhood, and you could listen in, and you hung up really gently.
Exactly. Tried to breathe, inhale only.
Yeah, Mrs. Lohmeyer and Mrs. Nicely, I knew what you were doing.
But was Mrs. Lohmeyer doing it nicely?
No. Mrs. Nicely was the Mrs. Kravitz of the neighborhood.
Yeah, so she knew everything or wanted to know everything.
She lived directly across the street. I couldn't get away with anything. And, the story, It Takes a Village.
Yeah.
We had a snowbird family that was... Blake, you've been to our DeLand house that I grew up in, the one to our left there. And I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I saw a nest in his tree, and I took the nest out of his tree, and it had a baby bird in it. I was too young to really, but he gave me a whooping. Neighbor gave me a whooping, and then my mom gave me a whooping, and then my dad gave me a whooping. So I got 3 whoopings.
For one baby bird.
Whew. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll teach you to climb somebody else's tree.
Yeah, I was in the wrong tree.
All right.
So.
Okay.
But I mean, that's the time. I mean, like.
Oh yeah.
Like my parents weren't mad at him.
No, not at all.
They were embarrassed at the fact that he had to do that.
Yep.
So, he gave me when I say he gave me a whip, he gave me one swat and sent me home.
Right.
So, but he gave me a whack on the back.
But your first 2 steps, you didn't have to touch the ground.
Oh, no, I was little too.
Yeah.
I mean, he lifted me right off.
Woof-ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but no, that's kind of the way it was.
And the way, look, but it was also, it was consideration, it was concern, it was educational, they were looking out for you, they were looking out for the neighborhood. It was all from a place of well-meaning.
Oh, yeah, no, and that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a battle
Right,
at that point.
right.
Everybody kind of had everybody's back.
Right, for sure.
So,
Well, because it was a neighborhood and you knew who your neighbors were.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what word origin do you have?
You go first.
All right, I have golf.
That's why you go first.
Okay, I have golf. We're talking golf today, and there's a myth out there a lot of people throw around, and they say it stands for gentlemen only, ladies
Go ahead.
ladies forbidden.
All right. You handled that better.
Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. It's not true.
No.
That's not what it started from anywhere. But it actually started, they believe, with a Dutch word. Okay. And it was with a K. It was kolf. Kolf.
Turn your head and cough.
Kolf. Kolf. And it actually meant club. So
Okay.
that's the most. There was some other ones that were out there and stuff like that, but that's the one that I kept seeing most consistently.
Okay.
So I wanted to get away with the myth of gentlemen
Right.
only,
For sure.
ladies forbidden.
All right. Well, seeing as we're talking about golf today, there's a bunch of golf terms that are out there. So, birdie is shooting 1 under par. And interestingly enough, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, bird was a euphemism or a synonym for being cool or excellent.
Okay.
So if you shot 1 under par, then that was excellent. So you shot a birdie.
So you were considered excellent.
Correct. And in it's being attributed to a golf course in Atlantic City in 1903 claims the first use or the ownership of the term birdie.
Term of the birdie.
Okay.
Okay.
So you get a little bit
Don't
better.
don't tell Donald Trump that. He'll claim it.
He'll put his name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. 2 under par. It's an eagle.
Eagle. Yeah.
Now, originally it was a sparrow.
A sparrow.
Sparrow. But then the Americans got involved in it, and they
gotta
named
be
it
bigger.
Exactly right, and named
gotta
it
be
after their
bigger.
national bird.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 under is a double eagle.
Albatross.
Albatross is correct.
Yeah.
Double eagle, I think of a coin.
Yeah.
But albatross is 3 under. But we're not stopping there, because there's a condor. 4 under par.
On a par 5, you got a 1.
There have been 6 of them recorded. 5 of them have been holes in one on a par 5.
How?
Wow. Well, these guys can hit bombs, though.
Table roll. What can I tell you? Short par 5. Well,
Yeah. These guys can hit bombs. I mean,
this is the fascinating one. However,
does it say when the last one actually was recorded?
no, but there was
I've
6.
never had a
apparently there
hole.
were 6
I've
of
never
them.
had a hole in one. I'm a fairly decent.
Well, then you've
golfer.
never had a dodo,
Yeah. What's it?
because a dodo is what the euphemism is for the bird euphemism for a hole in one, because they're mythical. They're extinct. They're hard to get. They're hard to find. You can't
Yeah.
find a dodo.
Yeah.
Try to get a hole in one.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, and this makes very little to no sense, but there is a term for 5 under, which I don't know how you can ever have it unless there's a par 6
There's
on a
there
course someplace.
used to be a par 6 at Palm Coast.
Okay.
It was like the third hole, and I can't remember, something Haven, I think. But there was a par 6 there, and it was like 640 yards.
Okay.
It was a golf hole.
Well, if you get a hole in one on that, you just hit an ostrich.
Yeah, there's no possible way.
You know, it'd be a lot easier to hit an ostrich than
Yeah.
to score an ostrich.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to outrun an ostrich,
Ooh.
pull all its feathers out before it stopped running, and yeah.
Than getting 5 under
than
par?
getting- Yeah, then getting
okay.
that.
So, and then, we all, well, maybe you don't, but I've been known to say 4 a couple times.
Yes.
And that evolved from the 4 caddy.
Okay. Oh, someone would to
Be
keep
dead.
an eyeball on the.
Right, because in the olden days, golf balls were expensive. So you had a 4 caddy out there to salvage or save your misplayed balls. And then that just became a caddy, and 4 became, look out.
Yeah,
That's where that evolved from.
Telling the 4 caddy it's coming at you.
Right,
It's coming at
exactly.
you.
So that's where that came from. All right, we've originated
Have
some words.
you ever had a hole in one?
I have not had a hole in one. I've come damn close.
I had one I saw hit the lip and roll out, and I had one that needed one more rotation.
Yep, that's what I said. Damn close. Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But I've holed out from the fairway twice.
I've done that from a trap, and I've done that from
Yeah.
the fairway. Sure.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I think one time about one. I mean, if you chip in and stuff like that, like within 30 yards or something like that, I don't count those. But I'm talking like 100 yards plus. I held out. I don't even know how to say it. About 115 one time and about 120 one time.
See, but even from 30 yards out, you can count it because that's your intention is to try to get the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
So on every swing, when I play golf, I'm trying to get the ball, down the fairway or onto the green in a proper position, and my intention is there. My execution certainly is not there all the time.
Yeah.
But that's what I say. I played courses that have had professional tournaments on them, a couple of U.S. Opens in Inwood, and on any given day, I can score as well as a pro on that same course. I can also play as
one
badly.
hole.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Yeah, well, that's it. But if I do that, I want to come back and play the next day.
Yeah. No, and I've played the Champions course several times. I'd say 4 or 5 times, not 5 or 6 times, and I'd say I'm probably 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 on the 17th.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's see, that's golf. I mean, and anybody you talk to who knows the game of golf will tell you that it's a mental game more than a physical game. And that water psychs people out.
Well, it's slowing yourself down because there's no game in the world where I know you have to have full control and your pace and the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
So,
but
mentally, I think I'm a better golfer now than I was. But the difference is like when I was in my 20s, my makeup shots are much better than what my shots are now. I'm more consistent if I get my mind right. I mean, I'm the type of golfer that I can play in the 70s or I can play in the high 90s.
Right.
So,
see, and it's
and if I play in the hundreds, I don't claim it anyway.
Well, there you go. Well, my game has changed to the point, and I watched my father do this. My father would not hit the ball long, but he would hit the ball straight down the middle. And I've watched senior citizens and older people, they hit the ball straight, and they hit the ball straight, and they hit the ball straight, and they score very
goes
well.
Further when you go straight.
Yeah, and they score very well. But my game, I used to be able to hit. And this is not big by any stretch of the imagination, because there's guys that hit a pitching wedge. They're saying that I would hit my, my 7-iron 150 yards.
Yeah.
And there's guys that can put a pitching wedge 150 yards without breaking a sweat. Now, for that same 150 yards, I'm using a 5-iron.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of just controlling the ball. But once you get your mechanics squared away and you have your same mechanical swing, the game becomes a little bit easier, and then you got to get your head right.
There's only 2 things in the world you don't have to be good at and still enjoy. Yep. Sex and golf.
There you go.
So, all right. So, I have in there the first written rules of golf. I mean, there's different versions of different types of golf all over the world.
Sure.
Scotland is given credit for being the creator of modern
Royal and
golf.
ancient. We toast you.
Yes. Thank you for that. But the first written rules was in 1744. All right. Like you said, you had a 4 caddy,
Right.
things where it was only for like the elite that played. Now, golf was banned several times because people weren't working, people were playing golf, they were doing this, and it was banned and made illegal several times throughout history.
Interesting. In Scotland.
In Scotland and in different countries. In England,
Okay.
in different countries. The game they played in Egypt was banned at one point.
A lot of sand traps.
Yeah,
A lot of sand traps.
Yeah. Get back to those pyramids.
Right.
So they unionized. It wasn't pretty. But it was one of the few sports that still survived that was banned legally multiple times by multiple countries.
That I did not know.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we're talking victories and we're talking some other things. Do we want to do our Mount Rushmore of golf first, our best movies of golf, or do we want to do
movies.
best winners or best losers? Which one?
Or just
Blake, are you
stories in
conscious
general?
there?
C.
Was that
Yes,
C?
yes. I am conscious. Can you
Okay.
not hear me?
Oh no.
Not when your mic is
You got to
off.
get under that mic. All right, Blake. Which way do you want to go?
I'm gonna go with the biggest losers first, then biggest winners.
All right. Who do you have as your biggest loser? Do you have one of those?
I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, you're
right.
out there. It's a beautiful day, as Bobby said. Golf, a beautiful way to ruin a walk.
Yeah. Was it Twain? Mark,
Yeah, it
that's a
could've
Mark
been.
Twain quote. A good walk spoiled.
Yep.
All right. Mine is British Open 99. Jean Van Demville.
John Vandevelde.
John Vandevelde. Do you remember this one at all?
I do not.
He had, a 3-stroke lead going into the last hole. All right? All he has to do is use a 7-iron, lay up, 7-iron, lay up to the next spot. All he needs is a double bogey wins. Takes out his driver. Puts it into the drink. Drops again. Total 10-cup moment. All right? Total 10-cup moment. And he ends up taking an 8.
Snowman.
And he finishes second.
Okay.
To me, he went back and played that hole 4 times just using his putter, and he got a 5 3 of the 4 times, and he got an 8 on the other one.
Wow.
Just using his putter. If he'd have used his 7-iron twice, and he would have been fine.
Well, all right. So then, in that case, I will bring up Bobby Jones, a legend in golf, and the man that golf owes a tremendous, tremendous debt to for what he was able to provide for the game going further as he got to be an older gentleman. But Bobby Jones, as a 21-year-old amateur, was playing in the 1923 U.S. Open. Was it the PGA? I think it was the U.S. Open.
U.S. Amateur or U.S. Open?
No. This was the Open.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was the PGA at that. It was the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1923 at the Inwood Country Club on Long Island, and I played that course probably 10 or 12 times. It's a beautiful course. I had friends that were members, which made it easy. But those were the days when they would just, jam it in. They played 36 holes a day, to get the rounds, and they would play 2 rounds a day and 2 rounds the next day. And he had a huge lead over this guy, Cruikshank, who was the best golfer around at the time. And Bobby Jones ends up giving up the lead, and they're tied, so they've got to play a playoff on Sunday. They've got to play an 18-hole playoff on Sunday. First of all, they had to wait till everybody finished church, so they didn't start until the afternoon. And the game goes on, and they're on the last hole, and they're tied at this point in time. And Bobby Jones is 190 yards from the green. And I know the hole, and the fairway's straight. But it's a big green, undulating, but still a big green. But right in front of it is a creek. So there's, one of those, psyche out water hazards right in front of the green. And he takes out a 1-iron, and he looks at the ball. I don't think he takes it, from what I'm reading, doesn't even take a backswing, and just clocks it. 190 yards, drops it 6 feet from the pin, 2 putts, and ends up winning. On that golf course today, there is a brass marker, a plaque, on the ground on the side of the fairway from where he hit that shot. And you stand there and you go, okay, that's a hell of a shot.
That's a golf shot with a 1-iron.
Yes. Yeah, hell of a shot.
And Blake's not a golfer, but he loves sports.
Right.
So I own a 2-iron. I don't own a 1-iron.
Yeah.
Because it's just like,
I use my 3
not
iron.
even Jesus can hit a 1-iron.
Well, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think I've ever even swung a 1-iron.
Yeah, I had one in my bag, and I use a 3-iron instead of a 3-wood because I'm a little bit easier with my irons than my fairway woods. I haven't gotten my fairway woods down, and everybody gets very upset when I put it on a tee. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
In the fairway?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but speaking about irons though, but have you heard about the famous John Daly 0-iron though?
No.
Yeah. So Wilson and so John Daly told Wilson, hey, can you make me a 0-iron? And they did.
What is it at? Is it like a 6-degree
Apparently,
iron?
it doesn't have a head on it.
Let me try to find it.
Does it have a flask at the end?
So it may or may not come up in conversation that Arnold Palmer used to drink half iced tea and half lemonade to create the Arnold Palmer, which is now a very, very common drink to order anywhere, and it's wonderful.
I like a good Arnold Palmer.
I like a good John Daly.
Oh, yeah.
Which
with
is an
vodka.
Arnold Palmer with vodka in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently it has a 13 to 14 degrees of loft. But John Daly originally said it was 3 degrees of loft. When you hit the ball, that's what the angle it goes at.
Yeah. No. I mean, that would have to be. I mean, it'd have to be less than 13 because my 1-iron's like 10. or my 2 irons like 10 or 11.
And a lot of props for John Deli for still being alive and
Still being relevant.
and reinventing himself 17 different times.
Well, I almost wore my loudmouth
Did you?
pants in honor of John Daly.
He was, at one point in time, he was a very, very good golfer, big off the tee, strong hitter, and basically drank himself off the tour.
Yeah.
Went through a couple
He
of
still has
wives.
sponsors.
Well, like I said, he's reinvented himself. He's created these. They look like I guess he was, watching somebody hit a beach ball around and said, "I can make golf pants in that pattern."
Yeah.
Very loud golf pants.
Yeah, Loudmouth actually went to him. They were like,
did they?
Yeah, they went to him when Loudmouth first came out. I loved him. I still have some Loudmouth pants.
I don't even know
shorts.
what they are.
I should have worn them. Maybe I'll wear them next week. But they're funky designs, very cool designs and stuff like that. And if you look at John Daly in the last 5 or 6 years, he's sponsored by Loudmouth, and you'll see a lot of people wearing Loudmouth this weekend up at
I'm sure
up at the Players.
I'm sure. Do you know who Dave Faraday is?
He's a golfer, also Irish guy, right?
Right.
He's
Funnier
now,
than
now an announcer, but he was a good golfer.
He was a good golfer until he drank himself off the tour. I don't think he's won. I don't think he won a whole lot. He played the European tour, but he's a
Entertaining
commentator,
guy. Entertaining,
brilliantly so. Because there was a show called Faraday, and it was an interview show, and it was golf themed. The guy is hysterical, bright man. I mean, he interviewed Obama, and I mean all over the place. Emmett Smith, Charles Barkley,
another excellent golfer, obviously.
Charles, man,
Ugliest swing of all time.
He actually fixed
I
it.
applaud him more. Every time I hear him say something, he is getting brighter, more controlled, and more on point with everything that Charles Barkley says.
No, I love him. Blake, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Charles has been working on this swing like a lot more. Like it actually looks smooth.
It looks like a human.
Yes.
Because I mean, some of the stuff he did, he looked like.
Oh yeah, he's too big. It's too big, too strong.
He looked like Stephen Hawking with Tourette's. Is what his swing looked like.
But Dave Faraday did John Daly one day in an interview show, and it's great because they sit in the studio, they drink, then they go out, and I don't think Faraday drinks anymore. I don't know that he drinks anymore because I think that was an issue for him. But he goes out, and John Daly would do this shtick with people, and Faraday laid down on the tee box, put a tee in his mouth and a ball on it, and let John freaking Daly drive it off of the
lot
tee
of dental work
in his mouth.
All right. So I have a video to show you real quick.
All right, what you got?
This is Charles's old swing. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a little herky jerky. They would
little
say
hiccupy.
Yeah.
herky jerky.
And this is his new swing.
That was not horrible.
Okay.
It was not great, but not horrible.
See if you can find John Daly hitting a ball out of Dave Faraday's mouth.
Yep.
It's Faraday with an FEH.
Yeah, no, Faraday, quite entertaining guy.
Absolutely, great show.
And one of the beauties of golf is you get 4 hours with your friends, and the more you torture them, the more fun it is.
Absolutely.
The score really shouldn't matter.
Right.
And I need to get back. I have a crew that I play with my friends from DeLand, and I need to get back to playing again. But it's a really good because you get a lot of time to talk.
Right.
You get more time to talk than you do actual physical activity. So I mean it's a
Unless you walk.
yeah.
You can, take a pull car to carry. I was a caddy for the longest time. I was a caddy as a kid.
And the pros still walk.
Yeah.
They still walk. They don't carry their own bags. But
I would schlep 2 bags. There was nothing better than having 4 putters.
Ooh.
If you got 4 putters, you're going out with a foursome that had 2 carts, and all you did was have their putters and take care of the pin and watch their balls. Okay. And that was good money because you weren't achy when you got home.
You got to. I mean, if you're watching a guy's balls, hopefully you're not achy.
Better than washing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just,
well, if you want to get back in your game, let's go out one day and I'll make you look good.
Okay. All right. We need to. I haven't played the new course, St. John's Golf Club. When I was Parks and Recreation Director,
Right.
I played out there quite a bit. But I haven't played it since they revamped it.
Okay.
The pro out there says he loves it. I need to come out, and he keeps telling me I need to come out. So we need
Set it up.
We need to do that.
Set it up. Nothing better than free golf.
We need to get out there. But one of the ones I want to talk about is We talked about the biggest. Blake, what was your biggest loss? Are you going with Greg Norman? Or are we doing Jean Van
I mean,
Damn.
Van de Velde?
I honestly think Norman's is probably worse because John Vandevelde only had the bad hole.
Yeah, Greg Norman was number
was
one, and he had a 6-stroke lead.
Was that the British Open?
No, it was
96 Masters.
Okay.
Yeah,
And probably his most iconic image is like him missing the hole, then him collapsing, just going oh my god,
Yeah.
no.
it just keeps happening.
But let me ask you
It
this.
happened to a nicer guy.
But let me ask you this: if he wins the Masters in '96, does Live Golf happen?
No,
so
I
far
think it
away,
still
yeah.
does because
Yeah.
he's still going for that paycheck. That's long after the world. No, I think it still
Yeah,
exists.
Greg Norman wasn't relevant when Live Golf happened, as far as golf was concerned. I mean,
No,
there.
he was their commissioner.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
as far as playing golf and being involved in golf, he was a forgotten name.
He was designing courses
Correct.
in
Correct.
Australia
and hats and things of that nature, and working on his shark brand.
His apparel had already fallen apart
Yeah, see?
when that happened.
So that's what I'm saying.
He
So
kind of
was-
needed Live
right,
Golf more than Live
right.
Golf needed him.
correct.
So I believe that to be true.
But I'll give you a loss for and this is going off on a little dark tangent, but it wasn't somebody losing in a tournament, but a tremendous loss for golf was Payne Stewart.
Oh, and Barbara Jean, you didn't even know it was in the comments. She said you got to talk about Payne Stewart.
I have every intention of talking
Yeah.
about Payne Stewart.
Yeah.
Payne Stewart was one of the most interesting golfers out there. And the story goes he's at the driving range and he's looking down the row of golfers and he said, damn it, every one of them, they're all in a uniform. They're all wearing the same pants, the same shirt, different color, but they all look like they were in a uniform. And he remembered his father telling him one of the best ways to stand out or distinguish yourself is by your wardrobe. And he started wearing +4s. So you had knickers. Then +2s were 2 inches longer under the knee than the knickers, and a +4 was obviously 4 inches longer than the knickers and 2 inches more than the +2s. And he would wear those. And then, savvy businessman that he was, he got a contract with the NFL. And Payne Stewart would wear his +4s in the color of the NFL team closest to the course that he was playing.
Yeah, so if
And
they're
he-
near
he was-
Chicago, he's wearing
Yep.
the Bears.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The tragedy involved, unfortunately, is Payne Stewart got to the point where he was affluent enough to fly on his own private plane. And
It lost cabin pressure.
right, pretty close to after takeoff. And the conjecture was these guys were all dead before they knew they were dead because the atmosphere in the plane disappeared on them. There was no oxygen in the plane, but it was on automatic pilot or whatever happened. The plane kept going and going, and there were fighters that went up to find it, and they just followed it until the poor plane crashed in the Dakotas.
Yeah, well, they were prepared to shoot it down
If it was
going to be in a
right.
populated
Correct,
area.
correct.
No, but he lived when we lost. What was the year we lost Payne Stewart?
I can
Look that up really quick.
I have everything.
I know
on it,
he
but I
was
didn't write it down.
living in Heathrow. Heathrow was a
99.
99.
October 25th, 1999.
So it was
That was sad.
he helped start a community called Heathrow just north of Orlando.
Okay.
And he was very instrumental in that community and stuff. But just a good overall dude. I mean, good for the game. Good. I mean, I can
Nice
remember
person.
him. I
Great
can remember him
ambassador.
throwing his hat in the air.
Yeah.
Just a good guy you had to root for.
And it turns out he had ADD.
Oh, really?
Yep, absolutely.
That's a
and he
hard
realized
game
it
to
was,
have that.
That's exactly right. He had to work on his concentration for that. Wow. So he would get distracted in the middle of a tournament. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Squirrel.
a couple of them on a course.
All right. Best golf movie. All right, we're going to do best golf movie, and then we're going to do
Okay.
our sponsors.
All right. I'm a sentimentalist. Everybody's going to lean toward Caddyshack. I'm a big Tin Cup fan.
Okay.
Big Tim Cup fan
Well,
because
I'm
I'm
a
big fan of
Costner.
Cheech.
I'm a Costner fan.
And you can't go wrong with Cheech.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also the everyman story because the U.S. Open, you play a qualifier. You don't have to be a professional golfer to get into the U.S. Open.
qualify.
You just have to keep qualifying.
Yeah.
And that was the story of the Tin Cup. But I'm a little sentimental, so I like the Legend of Bagger Vance. And the greatest game ever played.
Greatest game ever played is mine.
Yep, I like that one a whole lot.
And I have a whole story
Shia LaBeouf.
because I read the book before I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the movie. I loved the book better. But greatest game ever played is mine.
Yeah,
So
I'm right there with you.
So are you doing Bagger Vance or are you which one?
Well, if you're going to do greatest game ever played, I'll do Bagger Vance.
Okay, all right.
Which is also gets me a little wisty.
Yeah. Blake, what's yours?
It has to be Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore for you.
It's surprising.
And I love Caddyshack.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love Caddyshack. I think Bill Murray's character in Caddyshack is amazing.
It's more than a golf movie, though.
But
right.
And I love Tin Cup.
Yeah.
Not to be hating on Happy Gilmore, but I did the Happy Gilmore. I just bought a Big Bertha driver.
Okay.
All right. And this was probably the third time I played with it. I was like, I'm on a Happy Gilmore on 18. You know, you always, like, if the game's not like your best game or anything, you know, do the run up and hit. All right. I ran up, hit a ball. I nutted straight down the middle of the fairway. But unfortunately, the head of my brand new Big Bertha chased it about 60 yards forward with the swing.
And that's when you bring it back to the store and say, I don't know how this happened.
Well, it's obviously a flaw.
Right.
Obviously a flaw.
Right.
But it was because I Happy Gilmore'd it. and that's how I busted it.
So you know, there are a bunch of interesting cameos in Happy Gilmore. Everybody knows Bob Barker. But Lee Trevino was in Happy Gilmore as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, I want to bring up Lee Trevino for a couple of reasons. And one is he got struck by lightning twice, if not three times. Definitely twice, and I think it might have been three times he got struck by lightning. And the first time he got struck by lightning, he said, yeah, I brought it on myself. And because it was the week before, there was a rain delay. And he's out there, and he's waving his one iron up in the air. And his answer was, even God can't hit a one iron, so I'm not the least bit worried. Next week, lightning bounced off a lake and struck him. And the doctor that looked at him said, the only other time I've seen, because it came out his shoulder. And the doctor said, the only other time I've seen that, you know, burn mark from lightning was on a corpse. So, but Lee Trevino said, you know, after the fact, he wasn't really happy about being in Happy Gilmore because of all the cursing.
Oh, okay.
And Lee Trevino, growing up, was one of my, still to this day, my favorite golfers.
No, another very charismatic guy.
Yep.
Have you ever electrocuted yourself?
I've zipped myself and zapped myself a little bit more than I would like to think. Yeah.
All right. So I was probably 22, 23 years old. I was already working at Parks and Recreation. And by the way, on a golf course, I witnessed somebody get hit by lightning. We were underneath the shelter. They were leaning against the water fountain. It hit the building and then came through and hit them. They were fine. Everything was okay. But speaking of where it came out your shoulder, the softball fields used to be where Francis Field is. There was two softball fields there. There was Francis Field, which had a Coquina wall around it. There was a softball field there, and beyond that, where you see the dentist building and stuff like that, that was home plate for Joe James Field. Well, every time the time changes, you'd have to go change the timer on the lights of the ball field. So I got 480 volts going through, and I don't know exactly what happened, all right, because I was by myself. I was changing the timer, and I'm thinking that it arced, or I might have nipped it, but it electrocuted me enough where it knocked me back 10 feet, all right, and I was sitting against the fence in the dugout because it was on one side of the dugout. It knocked me back. I'm sitting with my hands like this when I wake up, all right?
God.
All right. All my fillings are melted. I go to see Mike Versaghi. He's like, what the hell happened? I explained to him. He's like, I've never seen this before. So evidently it came out my mouth. All my hair around my belly button was burnt. Oof. And my ears. So everything came out of wherever it could came out. It didn't come out my butt, but you know, everything came out. It came out my mouth. It came out my ears, and came out my belly button.
Yeah, that's Lee Trevino said he couldn't hear for a couple of days afterwards.
Oh no, it was very ringy. So, and I walked back to my office because my office is, you know, where that little bathroom building is now. Bring that back about 100 feet. That's where my office was, directly between the ball fields. I come back, Pam, who was our receptionist and office manager, she goes, what the hell happened to you? I was like, I really don't know.
Oh God.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't, something's going on with my teeth. And I explained to them, and they're like, you just electrocuted yourself. And that was the best scenario. I don't, you know, the fact No one was with me. I don't know exactly what happened, but that's the only thing I can figure out is I electrocuted myself changing that timer.
But you live to tell the story, my friend. So that's a good thing.
It makes for a great story.
Ooh, baby.
So there was other times I probably should have been dead too.
Well, yeah,
So.
I'm not encouraging anybody to lick a 9-volt battery.
But everybody's done it.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah, you put your tongue between a 9-volt battery. We'll do it tonight when we get home.
No.
Yeah.
It'll be good for you.
Yeah, it'll make you put hair on your chest.
Have Maeve do that. Jeez.
No.
Oh.
You can't torture a 4-year-old.
And if you can, we need to talk. Shame on you, right?
That's a big brother talking.
Exactly. Right? You know.
That's when you said it came out.
Sure.
You said it came out his shoulder. That's immediately what I thought about. So
wow.
It just finds that spot. I wonder why it came out his shoulder.
I don't know.
Because a lot of times it comes out your fingers and stuff.
But it's funny, even God, and that's what you get for mocking God.
Yeah.
Even God can't hit a 1-iron.
Yeah.
No, but I can hit you. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It carried it off the lake, too.
Exactly. It was a bank shot. No doubt about it.
So, Francis Wilmette, I'm considering this the greatest win and the best golf movie.
Okay.
The greatest game ever played. It's about the 1913 U.S. Open in Brookline.
Yep.
You ever played there?
Brookline, Mass, no.
Okay. But he was taking on Harry Vardon, who was late in his career.
Right.
Ted Ray.
And was Walter Hagen involved in that as well?
Hagen wasn't in the playoff. Like he wasn't.
But he was like the facilitator. He was there.
Hagen was in the tournament, but he didn't play well.
Right. Which is surprising.
Hagen was the most flamboyant pro from the U.S. side at the time. Francis Wilmette was a 20-year-old amateur. His dad was really against him playing golf, and the best part of the entire story is his caddy. You remember the caddy from the? Did you read the book or you read?
I didn't read the book. I saw the movie.
You saw the movie.
Yeah.
So Eddie Lowry was his caddy.
Played by Will Smith.
No, that's Bagger Vance.
Oh, okay, right. Okay,
that's Bagger Vance. But Eddie was a little chubby kid, lived in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's right.
He had to skip school to be
conflating my movies.
Yeah, he had to skip school to be the caddy for Francis. Francis was an amateur.
Right.
All right. Eddie was his caddy. Francis went on to win. They couldn't collect money, but everyone from the club collected money and gave it to Eddie. Right. All right. Eddie went on to be a caddy for several other people, was a good amateur on his own. He became a multimillionaire as a car dealership.
Okay.
All right. So if you look up Eddie Lowry in golf, and he's like considered one of the most famous caddies in the world. But Eddie helped out 3 future major winners, Kim Venturi being one of those, like sponsoring him as he went through his golf rise, and I think it was Harvey. I can't think of it, but there was 3 major golfers that Eddie is associated with later on in his life. But this is in 1913 when Venturi won in like 60 or something like that. Yeah. Left-handed golfer. But
like the evil Phil Mickelson.
The story of Eddie almost trumps the story of Francis Wilmette. Francis never became a pro. He went on to win 2 more majors.
Right.
He won the U.S. Amateur was also a major at that time, and he won his last one in 1931. Okay.
I mentioned this to you the other day when we were chatting about this, and we were talking about what we were going to theme tonight's show. In Long Beach, the city by the sea, there's a part of it that's very similar to Treasure Beach in the fact that Long Beach has canals.
All the canals, yeah.
And the canals are all named after golfers because Long Beach was developed by Senator William Reynolds. Channel's named after him. He was trying to create a Mediterranean community with red tile roofs and things like that in Long Beach on the South Shore of Long Island on a barrier island, much like Anastasia Island. And the canals are all named after golfers. So there's a Hagen Canal, a Jones Canal, a We Met Canal. There's a couple others, and I don't remember what they are, but I know for a fact there's Jones, We Met, and Hagen are the names of the 3 of the canals that are there. There's a couple more.
Yeah.
But that was pretty neat.
Yeah. All right. And my buddy Tim O'Neill, I guess he's watching out there. He just commented in. It explains a lot about my golf game. But Tim was with me when I was about a 9 handicap at one point, and I developed the yips.
Really?
Okay. And I don't mean I developed the yips a little bit. within 12 months, I went from a 9 to like an 18. And if it was a putt more, if you don't know what the yips are in golf, it means you can't control the small muscles as you go to putt. And it's the most painful thing as a quasi-athlete you can ever do because it's so frustrating. And I couldn't hit a 2-foot putt to save my life at that point. You know, here I was a fairly decent golfer. I was a guy who could get it from here to there. And then when I got it on the green, I mean, I might hit it 10 feet from the hole in 4-putt.
Right.
It was awful.
But you as a baseball player know the yips are in almost every sport.
Yeah.
Because a catcher who can't get the ball back to the pitcher has the same yips. Yeah,
Mackie Sasser.
Yeah, and who did he play for?
Dodgers.
And?
Did he play for the Mets too?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that who ended up releasing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dodgers seem to have the yips. I mean, didn't Steve Sachs have that too?
Yeah.
And Chuck Knobloch had it, I think.
Yeah.
Where he couldn't throw it to first base.
Maybe Steve Garvey will have him. God. So we brought up Walter Hagen as far as that's concerned, and I want to put a couple of Walter Hagen stories out there because I think it's fascinating. Because Walter Hagen is considered to be the father of professional golf. Because as you said earlier, he was flamboyant, very flamboyant, but he's the guy who brought all the money into golf.
He was a playboy.
Yep. He was a big drinker. He was a raconteur. I love that word.
Yeah.
And he was the first person to get prize money, which was $2,000 then to as opposed to $5 million now and $4 million.
The average salary for those times. I mean, he was a hustler.
Right.
He made most of his money in challenge matches.
He also was the first person to get endorsements. Mm-hmm. So, but a couple of stories about him. So it's the 1921 U.S. Open, also at Inwood. And he's playing and he's dominating. And the 17th hole at Inwood goes out, and the 18th comes straight back in. Mm-hmm. But there's trees and there's a little bit of a bend in the 17th. Mm-hmm. So Walter Hagen would take his drive, and I've played this course, and I know exactly what he was doing, and he would hit it up the 18th fairway. Mm-hmm. Well, the pro and the members at the club got pissed that he wasn't playing according to, you should say, Hoyle. Mm-hmm. So what they did is, at night, between two of the rounds, the pro was a guy by the name of Jack Mackey, and he went out there with a couple of the members, and they planted a big, giant freaking tree right between the
where the
opening
was.
between the so that he couldn't hit it. You know what Walter Hagen did? He won the freaking tournament.
Yeah, he's like that doesn't stop.
Okay. Great. So he wins in 21. Mm-hmm. Bobby Jones wins in 23.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, in case you're wondering who Walter Hagen is, Walter Hagen was a handsome John Daly with Arnold Palmer talent.
Right.
So just to kind of put it in scenario of where he was at in the world.
And we were talking about Payne Stewart playing in +4s and colors according to he was the most colorful golfer out there in a lot of ways. Payne Stewart was, in the +4s and the colors representing the NFL teams. Walter Hagen played golf in slacks and a shirt and a tie. These guys wore long sleeve shirts and ties to play golf. Mm-hmm. Mind-boggling. But
Hagen wasn't allowed in the clubhouse.
A couple of places.
Because the pros weren't allowed in the clubhouse because they were considered second citizens. And
he got pissed off, and he said, "Screw you all." Mm-hmm. It didn't stop him. So he wins the U.S. Open in he wins the PGA. I'm sorry, in 1924, and he ends up getting the Wanamaker Trophy, which is the trophy for the PGA Tour, and he's the champion. So in 1925, they say, all right, bring the trophy back so we can present it to the next one. He says, I'm not going to bother because I'm going to win this year. Mm-hmm. And he wins. And he doesn't bring the trophy back in 26 and 27. He wins 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. What nobody knew until 1928 was that after he won in 1924, he said, okay, fine. Had a cab drive him to a club where he's going drinking with his friends. Mm-hmm. And he has the cabbie take the Wanamaker Trophy, pays the cabbie to bring it to his hotel and give it there. Mm-hmm. Never shows up at the hotel.
Never showed up.
Nope.
He lost it.
Well, Hagen lost it, and the trophy, and it got disappeared by the cabbie, stole it, or did whatever with it. Well, he was golden because he won the next year and didn't have to produce the trophy. He won the year after that, didn't have to produce a trophy. Won the year after that, didn't have to produce a trophy. Well, in the 5th year, he didn't win, and he had to fess up in 1928. He had no idea where the damn trophy was because he lost it in 1924. And they created a new one. They silversmithed a new trophy, a new Wanamaker trophy. 1931, who the hell knows where, the real trophy shows up.
Oh, wow.
It reappeared in 1931. But this guy, he said, shit, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get busted. I got it. And he won for 4 freaking years in a row. He won the tournament.
But, I mean, he was so brash. I mean, what I've read about Hagen is he was so brash. He truly believed he was going to win every tournament.
Absolutely. He was the first person to earn $1 million in golf, and at the time it was equivalent to $40 million in today's money.
All right, let's talk about our sponsors real quick.
Sure.
Coquina Coast Realty, commercial or residential, give me a call, 904-669-7901. Kaiser's Deli and Market, amazing sandwiches. They have great breakfast, a fun market there, a lot of local vendors. Give them, stop in there and see them there at White Street. What's the name?
4 White Street.
4 White Street.
Yep.
Right there
on
next
the turn
to
of the boulevard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there on Anastasia Boulevard. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. If you haven't been there, get there. Take your kids. It's a wonderful place. If they have any interest in pirates, they're going to love them when they leave. Abare, Kresge and Associates. Everybody loves doing their taxes. No one loves doing their taxes. Give these guys a call. They'll save you money. They'll make you money by just keeping money in your pocket.
Yep.
All right, Meehan's Irish Pub. Big week for him. Big week for
Reggie. Be there.
Good luck this weekend for you guys. So proud you guys are a sponsor with us. We appreciate you.
You don't need sleep. You just need whiskey.
Yep. And Meehan's Shepherd's Pie. Love it.
Everything.
All right. City Gate Spirits and St. Augustine Distillery. These guys have been with us over a year now. Really appreciate it. They give us, we do a whiskey of the week. Every other week we shift it out. We usually have one of their spirits in here, and none of them disappoint.
Never.
So
never. It's such good stuff.
All right. One of the things I want to talk about, one of the greatest feats I want to talk about in golf is we talked about the greatest game ever played, but I think Jack's 6th victory at the Masters in '86 was probably one of the most fun.
Was that when he was 46?
Yeah, he was mid 40s.
Yeah. 40, it might have been 48. Yeah.
Yeah. But just the guy who I'm pretty sure he's on all of our Mount Rushmores of golf. So I think that's the greatest victory I can remember. The Francis Wilmette had the best story attached to it, in my opinion. The story of Bobby Jones is amazing, and how Augusta got started. Right,
exactly. That's people don't realize that. Bobby Jones, who won all these things as an amateur, ended up creating the Masters as a tournament and helped develop Augusta National. So Bobby Jones is single-handedly with a partner in the Masters and a partner on the golf course. So I guess he wasn't single-handedly.
No, it wasn't single.
Responsible for the Masters.
Yeah. No, and but to me, when I was growing up, Jack was the guy. So Jack's definitely,
and Arnie.
Jack's definitely on my Mount Rushmore. Who's your number one on your Mount Rushmore?
I'm a big fan of Jack Nicklaus, but I'm also a big fan of Arnie Palmer. You can't take Tiger. I'm going in big circles here. Bobby Jones for what he did for golf as far as the Masters, etc. and so forth. But then you also got not Walter Hagen, but where'd it go?
Blake, who do you have as your 1 and 2 on your Mount Rushmore golf?
So obviously I'm
Ben Hogan. There you go.
I mean, obviously I am young, so
it's I am Pei. He's the architect.
Yeah. So I'm saying like my number one's obviously gonna be different, but it's expected one. Tiger Woods is number one for me.
Tiger Woods is your number one. He's my number 3. I have him
in the top
list.
4 because you can't not.
I have him on my Mount Rushmore. I have him as my. I actually have him, Arnold, and Jack 1, 2, and 3. Those 2 came to me immediately.
Right.
4, I struggle with.
And
then I finally came up with the answer I needed to come up with.
Okay.
We talked about this person as one of the best athletes of all time. And she...
Oh, Babe Didrikson.
Exactly.
Got on the back with Annika Sorensen and Nancy Lopez.
Yeah. No, and I give it to Babe just because she was before.
Correct.
And she was so good. She would play in exhibitions from the men's tees. Sorensen actually played in men's events.
Yeah.
Diedrichsen was never allowed to play in men's events. But Babe made a lot of money in exhibitions.
Sure.
Because that's where the money was at. And that's
Fleecing
where
them
Hagen,
suckers.
That's where Hagen made his money. Yep. And it came down to, not just playing in those exhibitions. It was hustling.
Right. Yeah.
It was hustling. Diedrichsen and Trevino was another guy who was a hustler.
Yep.
Gary Player, who we didn't have.
I love Gary Player.
Who we didn't have on this list.
He's just adorable.
I can tell you this. I was fortunate enough when I was Parks and Recreation Director and had the TDC, I was able to go to the Hall of Fame ceremonies as different people went in and stuff like that. And Gary Player was the host several times, and I got to have several conversations with him. And just a gentleman, just an amazing, short guy.
I'm telling you, that's why I say he gets more adorable every year. South African.
Chi-Chi and him are two of the... Chi-Chi and him are two of the more charismatic human beings I've ever met in my life. Not just as golfers,
right?
But just guys like, you know how you meet somebody and you go, yeah, I got to work harder.
Yeah,
I got to work harder at being better.
Yeah,
and those guys kind of have that kind of push. When you meet them, you're like, yeah, I'm not doing enough.
I used to enjoy watching Chichi Rodriguez would sink a putt and then take his putter and like a sword. Put it in the scabbard.
Yeah.
And that was his defining move.
He would do the Zorro and then put it away.
Yep.
But Chi-Chi, as he got older, his driver got longer.
The shaft.
And he was only like 5'5", but his driver, I swear, was as tall as him. And it looked like he was standing 6 feet away as he swung his driver.
But, I brought up Nancy Lopez, Lee Trevino, Charlie Sifford, Lee Elder, Calvin Pete. People that broke barriers in golf.
Yeah.
Lee Trevino was a Mexican,
Texan.
Yep. Had been in the Marines for 4 years and then started playing golf. Broke a whole barrier right there.
Taught himself pretty much. Self-taught.
Yeah. Nancy Lopez, again, Mexican descent, woman golfer who broke down barriers as well. You had Annika, but Nancy Lopez was before Annika Sorensen by a long time. Married David Ray Knight. Yeah.
I met.
Yes, he was.
Cincinnati Red and met.
Okay. We can have them both.
Yep.
Okay. And then, Charlie Sifford was the first black gentleman to get a PGA Tour card in 1961.
And he wasn't even allowed in most of the clubhouses.
Nope. Good thing there was a green book.
Yeah.
Calvin Pete was the first one to win a tournament, PGA tournament. And Lee Elder was just a bomber off of the tee.
Yeah.
And good people. And you know what? They fought hard to get their standing in a difficult world at a difficult time for them. They all broke down barriers, and it was really pretty impressive.
All right. I have a list of the top winners 1 through 10. Do you guys golfers tournaments that they've won? Let's do 1 through 5. Okay. 1 through 5. You and Blake are going to go back and forth. Okay.
Total tournaments?
Total tournaments won.
Okay.
Tour tournaments won, not majors. We all know Jack's won the most majors, and Tiger's second on that list as far as majors go. All right. I'm going to let Blake go first because he's got youth on you. Blake.
Yes, he always will.
Who you got?
Tiger Woods is tied number 1, I believe.
Tiger is tied number 1. He's tied with 82 at number 1.
Fine. If we're going to play this game?
Yep. Who you got?
I'll go Sam Snead.
He's tied with him at
there
number
you go.
1. All right. Blake, who you got 3? Don't be looking it up in there. Are you looking it up?
Of course he is.
Sneaky.
Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, Jack Nicklaus.
And how many does he have if you had to guess off the top of your head?
60.
Wrong, 73.
73 is the correct number with 18 majors over a 25-year span. Who's number 4 or 5?
Walter Hagen's got to be up there at 58 wins. But I don't know if he's up there higher than that.
Hagen's actually at 45 with tour wins.
At 58?
No, he's got 45.
He's got 58 PGA sponsored wins.
Not according to the list I had.
Well, then we'll go by your list, though.
Yeah.
I will dispute that until I can confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, probably have that
I'll tell you,
left-handed son of a gun is in there someplace.
There is one at 64 wins.
Okay.
And one at 62 wins. And in sixth place is Byron Nelson at 52.
What about we did Sneed. What about Gene Sarazen?
Sarazen is in 12th at 38.
Okay.
Blake, who we going to, or did you already see it?
Did we mention Arnold Palmer? No.
We haven't yet.
Yeah, Arnold Palmer.
Hey.
Arnold Palmer's 5.
What?
Blake, can you come up with number 4?
Oh.
If I had to look at my screen, I would say
Dan Hogan.
Yes. Another great story. Had to teach himself to walk again after a car accident that he dove in front of his wife to save his wife's life. And he ended up breaking his back in a car accident.
he only won 9 majors. But after that accident, in 1953, he won 3 majors.
Yep.
U.S. Open, the Open Championship, and the Masters.
Yep. Walter Hagen has 11 majors.
Correct.
He's number 3 on the list as far as majors go.
Right, but he's got 58 PGA wins, so I'm not quite sure what's
I
happening
only have
here.
45 over here.
I got 58.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So
All right, but still 11 majors. Ben Hogan had 9 majors.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger 15. Jack 18. How many did Arnie win?
Arnie won 7 majors. Gary Player actually won more than him at 9.
Yeah.
So I think we're at the end of our show. We're actually over.
How have we done that again?
I don't know how we did that. I want to say thank you guys. Please share the show. It was a lot of fun. We ran out of a lot of time with lots more stuff.
But this is great
The Players is an amazing event. So happy they're here in St. Augustine.
Yep.
It helps us economy-wise, and it helps bring awareness to how great our city is.
Though I understand it, but a little disappointed that they moved the World Golf Hall of Fame from St. Augustine back up to Pinehurst.
Yeah.
You know, I understand it, but it's a little painful.
Yeah, no, it does hurt. It should have, I think, been at Sawgrass instead of where they put it.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense, honestly.
You know, it just that was kind of where I felt with the whole thing. But you know,
and the PGA built that phenomenal new property up there. Their world headquarters has moved up there from the World Golf Village.
Yeah,
PGA built this odd-looking building, but yeah,
but they had a great studio here. All that stuff. So the county's trying to work through that. I want to say thank you. This is Bollox Talks and Tangents, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.